Hi everybody, welcome to the channel Light Workers Together. This is Val. Welcome back to subscribers and welcome to the new folks that might be here. We're back out in nature today. Look how beautiful. Can you hear the birds? Boy, it's beautiful. They're calling for a little bit of rain later, but for right now it's really nice. So I figured I'd get out and do this video that has been on my mind to do. And things keep coming up. And when things tend to come up repeatedly, that's when you know, that's your sign that that's what you need to be doing. Yeah, this is beautiful. So lovely. So anyway, sorry, I digress. I'm caught up in the beauty of nature here. If you can see. Ooh, a bird just flew right over. Our topic for today is going to be a pretty crucial one, which is responding versus reacting. Okay, and letting love lead us. Kind of being able to take a pause when we need to. So, and this was a big thing for me, especially. Look at the birds up here, can you all see? Especially in the past. I am a very emotional individual. I'm an Aquarius, but sun sign, but I have an absolute ton of water in my chart. So I am an emotional being, and back in the days when I was unawakened and unhealed, I definitely can see how I was reacting. I would react to things, and it was like immediate. This is the difference between responding and reacting. Reacting is simply that. When something happens, good or bad, right? Or when someone says something or does something and we immediately respond without thinking. And a lot of times we respond from a place where we've been triggered, right? So it can be from a place of pain, hurt, anger, just a multitude of emotions, right? That's not ever a good thing for us or for the individual on the receiving end of it either. And that's how things tend to escalate, because someone may be reacting to something that triggers them, then we're reacting back, and you know how that happens. And then that becomes something not very good at all for anybody. So instead of reacting, which is just immediately popping off at whatever is happening, or, you know, what's the word I'm really looking for, guys? Look at this pretty tree. It's when we let our ego-driven emotional side, right? It's when we let the ego-driven emotional side dictate our responses, behaviors, versus letting our loving side and our intellect help us respond, right? In a way that would be more appropriate and from a place of love and being able to look at the other side of things. So responding versus reacting is all about not being impulsive and quick off the jump. And that is something that takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of practice to give ourselves a moment. And sometimes, you know, there are a million situations. Guys, every single day we choose whether we are reacting or responding to something. Every day. I guarantee if at the end of the day you sat down and you thought about it, and it doesn't always have to be like an angry situation or an explosive situation. Look how pretty this is. Sometimes it can be even a good situation, and maybe, or even something that is not necessarily bad, but it may be a situation for some that makes you feel nervous, and so maybe you end up reacting in a way you wish you hadn't. How many times have folks ever gotten home from something, whether it's a job interview or a date or, a meeting with someone, whatever it happens to be, and later you're like, God, why did I say that? Or I really wish I would have said this other thing. So this is kind of what I'm saying. The whole responding, oh, look at the beautiful bird. The whole responding versus reacting thing is very much like integral to kind of everything we're doing in our lives, right? It kind of touches on every single area. And so it's about not being completely ego driven and just firing from the hip emotionally, right? Whether it's from nervousness, fear, anger, uncertainty, a lack of confidence, whatever the situation may be, which is different for everybody. So if we can, in a given situation, give ourselves the opportunity to take a pause, right? To literally just take a pause for a moment, just breathe for a minute and think, okay, how do I want to respond to this, whatever this is, right? Whether it's an offer of something, because sometimes people will even say, I said yes to this, and if I'd thought about it, I wouldn't have. I would have declined that offer. Or some people are like, I just automatically said no, and in hindsight, I wish I would have said yes. So the reacting and responding, it affects so many things that we say and do, and how we say and do them. So literally, it sounds simple, but it is practice and work. It's as simple as taking a pause, right? Not being impulsive with the things that we say and our actions, right? Our reactions to things. So if in whatever moment, let's just do an example, okay? Let's do an example which is like the one that most people would have. And that might be, let's say you're at work, okay? And let's say not everybody gets along with everybody, right? We are all on our different journeys, and some people are more awakened than others, and some people have a more open or loving nature than others. Some are able to see things from multiple viewpoints. So everybody reacts and responds in different ways. But let's say, for the sake of this example, you're at work, someone comes up to you, and they say something critical or in an angry tone. Now, what would be your response? Would it be an immediate reaction? If they said something critical, would you fire back at them? Or would you take a moment, take a pause, digest for a moment what they say, their tone, and where you think they're coming from, and respond in a way that is better for you and for them? And I know sometimes this is very, very difficult to do when we are in situations where someone is being very aggressive. And my recommendation for that is to just step off. If someone is being very aggressive or getting in your face being aggressive, you do not need to tolerate that sort of behavior at all. Not at all. Not even a little bit. I suggest walking away from that sort of behavior and not engaging with it. And if you have to engage with it, if you're in a situation where you can't, a lot of times the best option is to give some sort of calm response or no response, so as not to fuel the fire. But if we take time, whether it's in, job interviews, whether it's in difficult situations, work situations, personal situations, to think, now how, if I had this to do over in a moment, how would I actually respond? From what place? If I'm trying to respond to something that someone is saying or offering, how do I do that from a place of love, right? From a place that is not critical, judgmental, emotional, that is not a knee-jerk instinct. And if we can give ourselves that moment to pause and to think about it, one, we give ourselves time to calm down anything that may have been triggered. And then this also highlights again something else that may need healing, because if we are being triggered, ooh, there's a big fat bumblebee, look how cute. If we are being triggered, then we need to heal that because you're not being triggered for nothing. How pretty. You're not being, see the clouds, guys? There's rain coming in. Yeah, you're not being triggered, but this is beautiful. You're not being triggered for nothing. And this is something I have definitely learned on, and there's a cardinal, wow. I have definitely learned on my healing journey so far, is that if something kind of rubs me the wrong way or triggers me, then I need to do a deep dive when I have time by myself, okay, to deal with whatever that is, to see it, to allow myself to feel it, to find the source of it, and then to heal it and let it go. Because once we do that, then that kind of thing is not going to trigger you again. The more we heal things, the less likely we are to react versus respond. And some of it is just societal conditioning. I will say this. It's just the way it is. We live in, generally speaking, a fast-paced world in which we are used to doing everything quickly, and that includes answering back, responding, and we also pick up on the energy of others. Many of us, especially others of you that are, empaths like myself, we definitely pick up on the energy of others, and that can also influence how we respond or react in any given situation. So for me, and again, please only take what resonates, but all of these videos are basically parts of my journey thus far, right? What has happened for me, what works, what didn't work, so that they may hopefully be of some value to someone else. It's what I always say, if we are able to share what we have been going through, that might help someone else who's going through the same thing, or who literally may hear something. They may listen to a podcast, they may watch a video or whatever, or talk to someone and hear a story that literally turns out to be something they go through a week later. And had they not had that information, they wouldn't have the help that they needed. The universe works in mysterious ways, guys. Look how beautiful. I think the sun's trying to come through. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's really pretty. So that's kind of what I wanted to really share. I'm up on the hill here. Is give yourself a chance. Trust yourself that if you give yourself that pause, that time that you need, that you will respond in a way that is for your highest good and that other individual's. And sometimes we're not responding or reacting to a person, okay? Sometimes it's a situation that's upon us, right? We all have things that, quote, go wrong in our lives or happen. Generally, they are challenges and tests. And so how we react or respond to those tells us a lot about ourselves, because that's what it's meant to do, right? It's meant to highlight for us, okay, let's say something, okay, here's an example. Let's say your car breaks down, right? That's pretty upsetting for most folks, but how do you respond to that situation? You know, do you freak out and get angry and have kind of an emotional meltdown, or are you able to center and be calm and then methodically deal with what you need to deal with? You know what I mean? And be thankful when the situation is taken care of, and be really, really have gratitude for yourself in handling it so well. Okay? Because that's the other thing that we need to be sure that we're doing, and it's part of our growing process and part of our self-love, is when we do get it right, right? This is life, folks. We're going to get some of it right, we're going to get some of it wrong. And we will constantly be evolving with this. But when you get it right, and I know you will, when you get it right, you can pat yourself on the back. You can say, you know, and this is something that, you know, my angels pointed out to me that I wasn't doing. They're like, okay, you've come a long way on this journey and you haven't given yourself credit for all this stuff that you have achieved. You just keep pushing forward. So why don't you stop and take a little credit for how far you've come, right? So that's the case I feel with this. It really helps us too to get into a mode of responding versus reacting. When we get it right, guys, cheer yourself on. Say, good job. I responded. I paused and I responded to this situation, this person, whatever, in the best possible way that I could for my higher good and theirs, for this situation in general. Love yourself and applaud your good job, and that positive reinforcement will help keep guiding you to respond, to take those pauses, because you're allowed to do it, guys. You're allowed to pause and respond, right, in the way that is for your highest good and the overall general highest good. Lead with love in all things, and you cannot go wrong. Okay? So, and if it's a situation where it's very difficult, right? And the only love that you can find in that situation is for yourself, then lead with that, okay? Lead with that. I promise you, it's going to make it better. It really, really will. So that's kind of it for this message. I mean, everything is really straightforward. It sounds simple, and it is, but it definitely is something that takes practice, and we will be given challenges and we will be given tests to make sure that we can apply it. It's what I said in my other video. It's something that I really had to learn myself, is that it's super great to learn all this stuff, right? But if you don't actually apply it in your life, you're learning, but you're not growing. And you have to have that learning and growing together to keep moving forward, right? So I feel like all of us were on this journey, right? We're on the path. We're getting there. We're doing what we need to do. That's so pretty. I hope you guys are enjoying this outside view as much as I am. We're on this path, and it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster. We'll hit those periods where we're on that straight, flat area, right? And the ride's a little easier. But life is a roller coaster, and the better we get at managing ourselves, not trying to focus on all the external things, because guys, we can't control that. You have no control over what's going to be thrown at you. You absolutely do not. What you do have control over, however, is how you respond in any given situation. That is what we do have control over. We have control over ourselves, our choices. So I highly recommend take that pause for yourself and respond with love. Okay? I highly recommend it. So, here's to our continuing journey, everybody. It's been a wild ride and it's not over. But there's so much good to come out of it. There really, really is. I hope everyone is doing well. Please stay positive. You know, practice that self-care and that self-love. Look at the pine cone. And find joy every day when you can, even in little ways. You know what I mean? Like for me, if I can come out in nature and I can enjoy something, that just is so joyful to me. So I'm going to leave this here. Big hugs to you all. I'm sending everyone love, peace, and unity. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye-bye.